Well, hello. You've caught me on the hop, as we say here in the UK. Would you like a cup of tea? Hi, I'm Gabby and welcome to another edition of The Fragrantician, where here on this channel we talk about nothing but fragrances. So in this edition we are talking about Givenchy while I'm having a lovely cup of tea. See, that rhymes. And my face is back. My grandmother used to say my face is my fortune. Well, my fortune is yet to be earned. So I'm just enjoying a nice cup of tea with my pearls in my little fragrance studio, which you will see a little tour at the end. But this side of the studio is what we call the Oriental side, because I do have a fascination with the Orient, with the Far East, as well as the Middle East. And I'm not just talking men there. So, are you all settled down? Do you have your cups of tea, your coffee, your cocktails, your mocktails, whatever time it is in the world where you are? It's tea time anywhere, especially here in the UK. And I'm enjoying this lovely cup of tea and I'm going to have another sip. So just talk amongst yourselves. So, the first fragrance we are going to talk about, and we are talking about the house of Givenchy. Now, Givenchy was created by Hubert Givenchy in 1957. His first fragrance was commissioned to Audrey Hepburn, and that was L'Interdit. And I will be talking about L'Interdit, which is a modern interpretation to the L'Interdit that I'm going to be talking about. So let's get to it in chronological order. So the first one I am talking about is Ysatis by Givenchy, and this came out in 1984, I believe. Now, this is a reformulated version I have. It is very, very Art Deco, I would say this fragrance is. It is very... It's like a Byzantine era. It came out in the early to mid 80s. So this is the oldest fragrance that I will be talking about, although this wasn't the first fragrance that came out from Givenchy, because of course L'Interdit came out in 1957. But this came out in 1984 and I haven't used a lot of it. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I really like this fragrance. It is aldehydic, but it's a little bit soapy. It's strong. It's very strong, very floral, very aldehydic. But I can take the aldehydes in this. There seems to be all the florals in there, from yellow florals to purple florals to white florals. And it's a little bit animalic as well, little bit vanillic as well. But Ysatis by Givenchy, I'm not going to declutter this because I do still like it. In fact, all of these fragrances I love. And I'm showcasing Givenchy because it's the largest set of fragrances that I think, well, I know that I own, bar one, which I will be talking about, and that is Thierry Mugler. And Thierry Mugler is another brand, but we're talking about Givenchy today. So Ysatis by Givenchy. The next one in chronological order is Amarige. Now, I only have a 30 ml, and this I really do like. It is very, very floral. Amarige is an anagram of mariage in French, and this came out in 1991. Dominique Ropion is the perfumer behind this, of course a master perfumer, and I only have a 30 ml. I don't feel I need to upgrade to a 50 or a 100. I do prefer it though to Ysatis. It is tuberose, white floral. This is extremely white floral. I would say out of all of these fragrances, this is the most white floral, and you do have to like tuberose. But there's also some other white florals in there, and it's a classic fragrance. It's a staple fragrance. It's a fragrance that has stood the test of time. It is now 30 years old this year, and this is a reformulated version. I can only, it only beggars belief what the pre-reformulated version was like. But Amarige by Givenchy, I do love. The next one we are talking about came out in 1997, and this is a pre-reformulated version of Organza by Givenchy, and this, I have to spray this one. This I do love. It's effervescent when you first smell it, but as it dries down, the nutmeg, there's a little bit of vanilla in this, but the nutmeg with those florals really come to play, and really it is a regal, classic floral fragrance, but it is a amber floral, I would say. It is slightly spicy because of the nutmeg in there, which gives it a slight kick, and you know when you wear this fragrance, you are standing tall, you are commanding an audience, you are this and everything. All of these Givenchy fragrances. It's a beloved French house of mine. It is my 4 French favourite houses are Givenchy, Mugler, Dior and Guerlain. Those are the ones that I have the most of in my collection. Those are the ones that I absolutely adore. And Organza, I was a bit late to the game with this, but it has a striking, it's striking. It's for a striking person. It's for a person that does not suffer fools gladly, that is not a wallflower, is not shy. Organza by Givenchy. The next one in my fragrance repertoire, which I have not got, but I've got a flanker of it. I used to own Haute Couture, but I gave it away. Not because I didn't like it. I wanted another fragrance lover to appreciate it, and I'll repurchase it at some point. But this is a flanker to Haute Couture, and this is my couture, and this is a blackcurrant take on it. Now in the, with slight smokiness, but it's not heavy. This is quite a skin scent, I would say. This lasts for about 3 to 4 hours on my skin, and it only projects very, very little. You have to stand close to somebody. It is what I would call maybe a bedtime scent. It's quite calming and relaxing. A little bit soapy. It could be a completely different fragrance to Haute Couture. And I do like it. I've had this now just over, coming up to a year, and I managed to procure this, and it's a beautiful fragrance and I love it. And it's for those days when I just want to lounge about the house in my PJs and feel all couture, my couture. Now this little beauty, this is a stunner, and this came out in 2005, and it is Eaudemoiselle by Givenchy, and this is a pre-reformulated version I have, and I have a little backup bottle of a 50 ml, but this is a 100 ml, and boy, this fragrance, this could be classed, now I don't like labels as you know, but this fragrance is not for the faint of heart. It could be classed as an indie or niche fragrance with the composition. I think it was quite ahead of its time, and it is a heady thyme, mandarin orange, lily, vanilla, oak moss, oak wood. It is everything and more. It is such a stunning masterpiece of a fragrance, and I am really beginning to appreciate it more and more through experiencing my Givenchy collection, and I'm so glad I have this version. The reformulated version I have tried, and it is okay, but this projects, this lasts a long time on my skin. This lasts a good 8 to 10 hours on my skin, and the projection is beyond arm's length. That's how strong it is. It is, if we're talking in feet, it is a good 5-6 feet. So yeah, it can fill a room, this can. It can completely engulf a room. I have sprayed 4 sprays of this in the past, and that's too much. 3 sprays is all you need. Maybe with the reformulated version, 4 to 5 sprays you need, but only 2 to 3 sprays. It is a baby of a beast, and it takes you on a journey, this fragrance. It evolves. The opening is very different to the dry down. In the opening, you get that bit of citrus, you get that thyme, but as it dries down, the lilies come to play. The lilies are the stars of the show, and that's why I like lilies, because lilies can represent death, and I have a fascination with death anyway. So maybe that's why this is in this fragrance, combined with the vanilla and the oak moss. It's earthy, gets sweet as well. It plays on all of those facets. Eaudemoiselle, Givenchy, love it. Now the next fragrance here, Live Irresistible, Delicieuse. Now this fragrance, I would say, now I haven't got the top. I lost the top, so don't come for me for that. But this is a sweet fragrance. This is probably the sweetest fragrance out of this bunch. Now, I don't really do sweet gourmands, but I love this. This is that sweet pastry, almondy, vanillic fragrance. Sweet almonds and vanillas, and you're biting into that puff pastry, which is sweet, and it's oozing out with all of that jam. Oh, yes, this is what this is. And macaroons, it reminds me of French macaroons as well. It is toothachingly sweet, and I love it. Now, it has moderate projection, moderate longevity on me, but who cares? I've put a dent in it. I absolutely do love this fragrance. I can't believe I lost this top. I mourn the loss of this top, but I must admit it didn't fit properly, but that's another story. But anyway, Givenchy Live Irresistible, Delicieuse. It is just sweet, gourmand, girly, feminine. I would say it's not unisex. I would say it is, well, I mean, let's face it, if you're a strapping young man and you want to wear it, you wear it. I'd still want to eat you. But I would say this is sweet, gourmand, heaven. The next one is a flanker to Eaudemoiselle, and it is Le Secret. And this is cranberry tea, and it has a tea-like effect to it. It's such a spring summer fragrance. I will not wear this in autumn and winter, so this is now retired to next year. So I use it quite a lot in spring and summer. It's a very spring and summer fragrance. This is ideal for like April onwards, April to September here in the UK. And it's just beautiful. Again, moderate projection, moderate longevity, but it's completely different to the Eaudemoiselle. It could have been another fragrance in itself. That said, it is beautiful and I love it. Eaudemoiselle. We're coming to one of my ultimate favourites, which is Dahlia Noir, which sadly has gone to fragrance heaven. It's been discontinued, but I have this and I have a backup bottle of this. This is the 75 mls and I have a 50 mls as well. That came with no top though, that was a tester. But this is powderiness to the max. A little bit of iris in there, but combined with the rose, it is a chorus of angels. Very powdery, very powdery. Now, Dahlia Noir, now that name conjures up of the killer, you know, in the 1940s in the US. But this fragrance, it is a gem. It is stunning, moderate projection and moderate longevity, but it's such a stunning fragrance. It is a classy fragrance. It is a little bit of a femme fatale fragrance. It is beautiful. Givenchy Dahlia Noir. Now this one is L'Ange Noir, and it's the Eau de Parfum, and I think this is the 75 mls. This is very, very different. If I can find the hole. Where have I heard that phrase before? I can't even find the hole. Right, let's spray. Right, there it is. This is slightly powdery, but it's nutty. It has almond, sesame seed in this as well, and it is dry. It has a dry texture to it. And by dry, it's not a sweet fragrance at all. In fact, it's probably the opposite. It's an acquired taste. Now, when I saw the advertisement for this in France, it didn't really match to what the bottle is. You think it's going to be strong and really animalic. It's not. The almond it's the bitter almond and the sesame seed that gives it this dry, slightly smoky effect. But L'Ange Noir, it is a classic, and I now do love it in my fragrance collection. So we have saved the best for last. The last three. Now this is L'Interdit. And this came out, I believe, in 2017 or 2018? Might have been 2018, I think. And this fragrance, this kind of this did relaunch Givenchy. It took it into another realm because the sales of this fragrance, well, every man and his dog and cat, and every woman and their dog and cat, every human being and their dog and cat are talking about L'Interdit now. A lot of Givenchy fragrances, but this is the original one, and as you can see, this I've used a lot, and I've had this now about 3 years now, and this is your, oh look at that mist. This is your creamy tuberose and pear and vanilla scent with a drop of patchouli. Heaven. Absolute heaven. Now, some people say it smells like bubble gum. I don't. And I disagree. Now, I have tried another fragrance, Micallef Watch. That is a bubble gum tuberose, I will say. And I'm going to do a review on that, so watch this space. But this isn't. This is sweet. The tuberose is there. It can be headache inducing. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. You do have to like the white florals combined with some orange blossom as well. But it's that tuberose of the vanilla and the pear. And that's the core. That is the DNA, with some patchouli as well, of L'Interdit. Classic, stunning, a beautiful fragrance, a beautiful white floral, and it's one of my signatures. Now, the next one, as you can see with the lace, is the Edition Couture edition, the Edition Couture, and this is basic. Well, it's the same, but I just had to get it for the bottle. It has the tuberose, it has the same composition. Now there is the Millésime, is it? Millésime edition, and there is Intense, which I haven't got and is on my wish list. But this one, the Couture edition with the lace, stunning, classic, elegant, head high, walking into a room, commanding an audience. It's a winner. And finally, we have the Rouge edition, which I am going to pop a little bit more on. This is the DNA of L'Interdit, but it has a pimento leaf accord and a ginger, and it warms up the skin. Now, some people have said they have reacted to it, I've noticed, but it fortunately hasn't with me, and it is in a stunning deep burgundy red bottle. And it has sweetness to it. I thought it had vanilla in it, and it doesn't, but it smells really sweet. It smells sweeter than the original L'Interdit. It does smell sweeter, slightly smoky with the spice. That ginger is there. That ginger is apparent. There is bitter orange in there as well, which only lasts for a couple of minutes. And then you get the ginger, the tuberose, those other white florals, predominantly tuberose, with patchouli and vetiver. I'm not sure if there's ambroxan. I think there might be ambroxan in this, or the original one, I'm not sure. But it projects. Actually, L'Interdit, the original, that projects, has amazing longevity, amazing sillage, amazing projection beyond arm's length. Only a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, I was seeing my lovely friend Chantal. Just having a little memory there that I saw of my fragrant friend, who, she was wearing Aaron Terence shoes, Goddess, I believe. And I was wearing the original L'Interdit, and she could smell it straight away. And I'd had it on a fair few hours. I hadn't reapplied. That's the longevity of it. Beautiful, stunning. Oh, beautiful fragrances. So we've come to the end of the video. We've come to the end of my Givenchy collection, the fragrances that I own. What are your fragrances that you own? Comment down below. So until next time, you've been watching another edition of the Fragrantician, and I'll see you all in the next video. Here we are. Coming in, just a little tour. As you can see, this is a lovely little part of the studio I love. I know, I'm such a sad old cow, aren't I? Excuse, there's no curtains. That's my ring light where the magic happens. And there we have magic. If I come in, you can see all of my fragrances with my little Buddha taking pride of joy. And then these antiquities came from my salon, my Pharaoh, my Buddhas, everything there. And then coming round, my screen that my father-in-law bought for me many years ago. Dread to think where, wow, it's a beautiful, it's lovely. I love it. So that's my little tour. Bye.